Block 1. Unveiling the Ghost Grid, F1's darkest conspiracy. Greetings, thrill seekers and conspiracy enthusiasts. Welcome back to the channel where we peel back the layers of the known world to glimpse the shadows underneath. Today, we're strapping in for a deep dive into a theory so audacious, so chilling, it makes a championship rivalry look like a friendly go-kart race. We're talking about a conspiracy that weaves together the high-octane glamour of motorsport with the terrifying cutting edge of modern warfare. Forget the battles between Ferrari and Mercedes. Forget the drama of the driver's market. We're here to talk about the Ghost Grid. What is the Ghost Grid? The whispers and fragmented rumors that have trickled out from the darkest corners of the web describe a clandestine, unsanctioned racing league. A league that looks, sounds, and feels like Formula One, but serves a purpose far more sinister. This isn't about prize money or champagne on the podium. The prize here is global military supremacy. The theory posits that a select group of world powers operating in total secrecy use this ghost grid as a live fire proving ground for their most advanced and, more importantly, illegal hypersonic weapons. Think about it for a moment. The pinnacle of motorsport, a spectacle of speed and engineering, twisted into a covert arms race. A terrifying reality potentially hidden in plain sight. But why? Why go to such elaborate lengths? Why disguise a weapons test as a race? The answer lies in the very nature of modern geopolitics and the limitations of international treaties. Publicly testing a weapon that can travel at over 5 times the speed of sound, that can maneuver mid-flight to evade any known defense system, would trigger an immediate global crisis. It would shatter the fragile balance of power and likely kickstart a new, terrifyingly fast-paced Cold War. But what if you could test the crucial components, the guidance systems, the heat-resistant materials, the telemetry, the launch dynamics, without anyone ever knowing it was a weapons test? This is where the genius and the horror of the ghost grid theory comes into play. A Formula One car is the perfect disguise. These machines are already at the absolute limit of what is physically possible. They are exercises in extreme aerodynamics, advanced material science, and mind-boggling G-forces. The data gathered from a car cornering at 5 Gs, its chassis enduring incredible stresses while its systems transmit thousands of data points per second, is remarkably similar to the data needed to perfect a maneuverable hypersonic glide vehicle. The race, then, is not about who crosses the finish line first. It's about which nation's car can successfully deploy a prototype, hit a designated target hundreds of miles away, and return to the pits with its data intact, all under the guise of a simple systems check or a simulated engine failure. The drivers in this league wouldn't be celebrity athletes. They would be elite test pilots and special forces operatives, their identity scrubbed, their mission paramount. The ultimate goal? To achieve an unanswerable first strike capability, the power to neutralize any adversary before they can even react. It's a checkmate move on the global chessboard, developed not in a sterile lab, but in the heat and fury of a race. This isn't just a conspiracy theory. It's a blueprint for the perfect clandestine war, fought with engines and carbon fiber instead of soldiers and tanks. Prepare to question everything. Block 2. The mechanics of deception. How illicit tech is tested. The idea of a secret hypersonic arms race disguised as motorsport is profoundly unsettling. But for it to be more than a dark fantasy, it would require a level of logistical and engineering sophistication that is almost beyond comprehension. So how could an operation like the Ghost Grid actually exist? Let's break down the theoretical mechanics of this ultimate deception, from the cars themselves to the hidden battlegrounds where this shadow war would unfold. First, the vehicles. These would not be repurposed F1 cars. They would be purpose-built chimeras, technological wolves in a sheep's carbon fiber clothing. On the surface, they would mimic the dimensions and aerodynamic profile of a top-tier race car to maintain the disguise. But beneath the skin, every component would serve a dual purpose. The chassis wouldn't just be lightweight, it would be constructed from radar-absorbent composites and metamaterials, designed to minimize its signature both on the ground and to any prying satellites overhead. The power unit would be a masterpiece of deception. It might feature a conventional-sounding hybrid engine for the show, the roar and the heat signature of a race, but integrated within would be an entirely separate high-output energy source, perhaps a compact pulsed power system needed to energize and launch the projectile. The weapon itself would be the most ingenious part. Forget a bulky missile strapped to the side. We're talking about fully integrated systems. The side pods, normally used for cooling radiators, could be re-engineered to house a compact launch system, using electromagnetic coils or a gas steam launcher for a low signature release. The car's DRS flap could be a multi-spectrum sensor suite, unfolding not to gain speed on a straight, but to acquire targeting data just before launch. Imagine a scenario: a car screams down a 3-kilometer straight. To an observer, it's a qualifying hot lap. In reality, the driver, a trained weapons officer, is receiving target coordinates via a secure, encrypted data link. As the car hits the perfect velocity and vector, the launch sequence is initiated. A small, fin-stabilized projectile is ejected. Its own scramjet engine ignites, and it accelerates to Mach 7, all before the car even reaches the braking zone for the next corner. The car might then simulate a technical fault and pull into the pits, where the mechanics, in reality munitions and intelligence experts, download the telemetry and prep the car for its next test. But where could such high-stakes tests occur? Certainly not at Silverstone or Monza. The Ghost Grid would operate on remote, unmonitored, and perhaps purpose-built tracks in the world's most desolate locations. Think of sprawling, privately owned facilities deep in the Atacama Desert or the Siberian wilderness, shielded from prying eyes by hundreds of miles of empty land and active electronic countermeasures. These locations might be officially designated as automotive R&D centers or private proving grounds for plausible deniability. They could even use massive mobile sea platforms in international waters, effectively creating a sovereign racetrack that exists outside any nation's jurisdiction. The motive behind this elaborate deception is to circumvent international law. Treaties like the Outer Space Treaty and various arms control agreements place strict limits on the militarization of space and the testing of certain weapon classes. By testing a component from a ground vehicle, nations could argue they aren't violating the spirit of these treaties, creating a legal gray area just wide enough to drive a hypersonic missile through. The true beneficiaries are the shadow entities, the military-industrial complexes, the intelligence agencies, the geopolitical strategists, who gain an insurmountable technological advantage without firing a single shot in a conventional war. This is the new arms race, one that is not televised, but is faster, quieter, and infinitely more dangerous. It forces us to consider that the next great leap in warfare might not be unveiled at a military parade, but might instead be hidden in the blur of a car you can't even see. What do you believe is the most plausible element of the Ghost Grid theory? The disguised cars or the secret tracks? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more deep dives, and we'll see you in the shadows.